have a look.
Testing, testing, 1, 2, 1, 2. Live audio test ahead of kickoff here in Belmore. It is Sydney Olympic playing host to Wollongong Wolves, kickoff scheduled for 5 p.m. Testing, testing, live audio test ahead of kickoff here in Belmore. Sydney Olympic entertain Wollongong Wolves, kickoff scheduled for 5 p.m.
both sitting on my dining room table. I know exactly where they were, and put them there on the way out, and I was like, stress is getting everything. Completely left them. Sit with just the camera and button light, and pray. And it still sounds like shit, but it was audible. It sounded like shit to me. They probably wouldn't. No. Honestly, you can have a bit of dog shit video, but if the audio is fun, you can lock over.
a very good evening indeed and a warm welcome to Belmore Oval as these two traditional heavyweights lock horns in round 23 of National Premier League Men's New South Wales action. It's Sydney Olympic playing host to Wollongong Wolves. Pete Pryor with you this evening to take you through all the action as it unfolds. An absolutely intriguing spectacle befalling us here. Moment's silence impeccably observed by both sets of supporters and players alike, of course. Well, the team news is in, a bit of it to get through as well ahead of kick-off here, starting for the host Sydney Olympic in goal. Mid-season signing Philip Curto, and there have been no shortage of mid-season signings, of course. Sydney Olympic, perhaps the busiest side in the mid-season madness of the transfer window. The number 4 will be Josh Hong, the 5 and captain in his 100th appearance for Sydney Olympic this afternoon, Ziggy Gordon. The 6 is Jock Akuian, 7 Seth Clark, 8 Khan Nizam, 10 Panos Amanakis, 12 Zach Zoricic, 16 Bailey Callahan, 21 Adam Bugaria, and 23 Sebastian Kikuchka. For the visitors this afternoon, the headline team news, perhaps between the posts. Of course, yesterday announcing the departure of their regular custodian, Daniel Solsky. In for his first start of the season, the youngster Max Kanail. The 2 is Jake Shaked, 5 Banri Kanazumi, 8 of course Seb Duarte, 10 Flynn Madden, 11 Seb Hernandez, 13 Hugo Cornish, 15 Dax Kelly, 18 Kazuya Yamamura, 24 Lockie Scott, and 44 Yuto Fujita. Scoring in the reverse fixture as well for Sydney Olympic against Wollongong. Today lines up against his former side, sporting the red and white of Wollongong. We're just moments away from kickoff here at Belmore. It will be the visitors to get us underway. Flynn Madden standing over, ready to commence hostilities here. Fixture, of course, with a rich and storied history. Another chapter about to be written this evening at Belmore as Madden launches one forward. The two sides, of course, in the hunt for 3 points today for very different reasons. It's Wollongong who look to start the brighter, trying to get Fujita on the ball immediately, but pass was left a long way behind the Japanese flyer. Wollongong looking to reverse a really troubling patch of form over the last few weeks. As Olympic come forward here through Kikuchka. Not retain it though. It's a scrapping midfield with Clark emerging with it. Spraying one out to the far touchline as well. That's a good-looking ball from Seth Clark. Strike will come, and an early tester for the young Wolves clubman. Regulation stuff, and there's a slip from Fujita. Straight to the feet of Clark, and a strike from a long way out. Amanakis it was pulling the trigger. Amanakis, of course, richly experienced. Perhaps the headline signing in that mid-season window for Sydney Olympic. It's real end-to-end stuff here. It's Hong wins it from the back heel of Hugo Cornish. For handball. Further shouts for a penalty. On we go. Akuyan inside for Seth Clark. Forced to turn and retreat somewhat. Zoricic it is now. Callahan it was on that far touchline, unable to keep it in play. Trying to link up with Seb Hernandez on that far touchline, hooked over the shoulder of Cornish. Offers a hand in apology. Akuyan hoists it back into play, but it's nodded forward straight to the chest of Hugo Cornish, who looks to bear down on Ziggy Gordon here. All the experience from Ziggy Gordon telling. The strike will come at the end of it all from Hernandez, who inverted. Regulation stuff for a man of Philip Curto's stature. Kukuchka, able to keep it in the field of play. Keeps his feet as well. Now looks to drive at his fullback and invert. Here comes Kukuchka, still going on his left. Kukuchka! Oh, I'll tell you what, not far away at all. Looking to just sneak it in that left-hand upright of Max Canile taking a good chunk of paint off the outside of the post as well there. Right signs from Sydney Olympics 23, Sebastian Kukuchka. The Wolves will be disappointed with their defensive efforts, so they just backed off and backed off and backed off and allowed Kukuchka, I should say, my apologies, to continue his foray forwards. Wollongong look to get up the other end immediately, whipped in and repelled by Ziggy Gordon. Appearance number 100 today for Sydney Olympic. Kanazumi. Now Seb Duarte. Assessing the options ahead of him here, Seb Duarte. That was not one. Wollongong able to recover. It's Kanazumi for Fujita. Hernandez, my apologies, Duarte, of course. Here's Yamamura. Interesting looking ball, this one, giving Hernandez something to chase, who does exceptionally well to keep it in the field of play, and even better to link up with Cornish. Now Cornish will strike. Awkwardly sort of bouncing ball, very difficult to get the guidance and direction required for Hugo Cornish. These two sides really trading punch and counter punch in the opening 10 or so minutes here at Belmore. Game in no real danger of remaining stagnant or stale. Real end-to-end stuff. Both sides now with a couple of sights at goal. Kukuchka has come the closest for Sydney Olympics so far. It's Kanazumi. Able to get his head to it, but Amanakis helps it forwards. Straight into the back of Kukuchka though, and now Fujita for the Wolves. He's really hit the ground running as Fujita since his mid-season move from Olympic to Wollongong. 2 goals last week in that 3-3 draw. Taking his tally to 6 for the season. Of course, 4 scored for Sydney Olympic prior to his move. As we said, one of which was back in round 8 in the reverse fixture against his new employers. Kanazumi. Off the back it goes via Dax Kelly. Then Shackhead will help it wide. Forced all the way back now are the Wolves. Knight has a bit of a puzzle to figure out, and cool, calm and composed. And the young Gloveman, who has got big raps on him, of course has plied his trade in the under-20 set-up for much of the season. Elevated to the first grade frame today. As we said, Daniel Solski's departure announced late yesterday evening. Heading out west to link up with Perth Glory in the A-League. Just reward for Daniel Solski, who, it's fair to say, has been one of the competition's most consistent goalkeepers over the years. Here's Amanakis. Always busy, always buzzing about everywhere, Panos Amanakis, and looking to show off his expansive range of passing. Again, Knile's got a real puzzle to figure out, and does well enough. Forced to concede the throw-in. Wasn't game to use his hands there, the young Gloveman. Perhaps fearing that he may have taken himself outside the penalty area. Zoricic will hoist it back into play. Here's Amanakis. Hong. And Gordon now, the two former Mariners combining. Hewian. Gordon's turn to show off his range of passing. Zoricic does well. to bring it out of the evening sky. Seth Clark looks to shift it on. Good turn from Fujita though. Now here come Wollongong through Madden. Kicked out, call as you like there from Akuian. Callahan is the wall pass. Bugaria and Clark. Armenakis all combining, working their patterns. Trying to push and probe and prod and poke a hole in those two banks of four for the Wolves. Here's Armenakis. Shifting inside. Bugaria spins. Kukuchka. Shifting one way and the other. Kukuchka! Opens the scoring for Sydney Olympic. It's a wonderful, well-worked move from the hosts. Sebastian Kukuchka, who has been lively in the opening exchanges here, opens the scoring after just 12 minutes. Goal number 3 of the season. It's 2 in 2 weeks as well, scored in that 2-1 defeat last week to Western Sydney Wanderers, and the Olympic chants reverberating throughout the grandstands here at Belmore, as well they might. Well, that's got Belmore up and about, absolutely bouncing, perhaps the belief starting to take shape. What do Wollongong offer in response? Slips through. Curto alert to the danger. Philip Curto now just urging for calm. Rolls it to the feet of Josh Hong, who will immediately look to launch another foray forward. The flag is up immediately, though, to deny any further advance for Bailey Callahan. Picked out by Hernandez. Numbers to aim for in the middle, including Lockie Scott, who retrieves it only momentarily. Armenakis spinning and has his legs taken away from him. Pretty much smack bang dead centre of the field. Olympic very keen to get on the move immediately. Armenakis conducting traffic and clipping one into the area. Kanial alert to it and quickly off his line. Plucking it really off the head of Khan Nizam. Nizam quick to retreat and get back into shape. Yamamura knocks it wide. Shuckheads immediately converged upon by a couple of Olympic shirts. Those in Olympic colours doing well enough to win the throw for their side as well and continue this sustained period of pressure. Clark forced to just turn and retreat and back into his own defensive half with Gordon. Hong. Zoricic. Smart little ball inside there from Zoricic. Here's Armenakis. Pipped into the area. It's all too far ahead of Callahan, though. Usually so unerring in his range of passing. Panos Armenakis, the US-born Australian youth representative. There is plenty of action ongoing elsewhere in the league today. It's a real super Saturday of football. Seth Clark looks to pick this up in the middle of the park. Can't retain it though. We will look to keep you up to date with action elsewhere as and when we can, but Wollongong on the march forward here through Madden. delivery out to the far post. Finding a teammate. Madden wants a return pass and will receive it. Back to goal. Spins. Cornish unable to find an eye for goal there. Still they come. Shaket. Seb Duarte now. All avenues going forward blocked off there for Seb Duarte. So back with Kanazumi. Good ball into the channel. Finds Fujita now via Cornish. Cornish is overlapped on the outside and will pull it into the 6-yard box. Comfortably picked out there by Hong. Cleared into touch. We will take the opportunity to take you through what's happening elsewhere. Cromer Park, Manly and Sutherland still deadlocked at 0-0, but this is news that Sydney Olympic perhaps won't want to hear. Blacktown City have just gone ahead against Southern District Raiders. 14th minute penalty at Ernie Smith Reserve for Blacktown City converted. All over the top again, Shackheads had body position and does well to win the goal kick for his side as well. Good ball forward there to find Lockie Scott. Seb Hernandez. Marshalled off it to great effect by Ziggy Gordon. Curian to complete the clearance, but it's going to come straight back at them. Here's Madden. Yamamura, my apologies. Now it's Fujita. Overlapping is Seb Duarte intelligently. First time ball to the edge of the 6-yard box again, repelled by that man Josh Hong. The Wolves searching for a response. Again clipped into the area by Madden. Ziggy Gordon happy to watch it back to Philip Curto. Two former competitors in the A-League, of course, Ziggy Gordon, both with the Central Coast Mariners and Western Sydney Wanderers. Philip Curto, a somewhat storied career throughout the A-League. In the last few years at least anyway. Started at Wellington Phoenix, moved to Western United and finished up with a couple of trophies as well for a spell at MacArthur. Strength from Lockie Scott to evade the attention of a couple of shirts, but doesn't have the pass to match. It's all too far ahead of Fujita. Just in front of the travelling Wolf Den. Making the trip up from the south coast. Well, not quite the south coast, maybe the south central coast. Depending on geographical definitions. Always good travellers, the Wolf Den, of course. Seen them as far up as the Central Coast at Plume Park on a number of occasions. Here's Lockie Scott looking to give the Wolf Den something to sing about. Hernandez looking for the return pass towards Madden. Just be a throw-in on that far touch line. If you are just joining us on the broadcast here, live from Belmore, and 23 action between Sydney Olympic and Wollongong. Of course, you'll see on the scoreboards, Sydney Olympic leading by that solitary goal, courtesy of Sebastian Kukuchka. Striking clean and true and really wounding these Wolves. Madden will spray it wide. Hanazumi. Having to display a real load of patience in possession here, the Wolves. Madden again. Dax Kelly sends it forward centrally. Lockie Scott operating as a wall pass this time. Can't pick up the return though. Seth Clark bundled over. Peep of the whistle, indicating a Sydney Olympic free kick again, just about on halfway. Lockie Scott knew he was absolutely in an offside position there and didn't dare make a play at it. Here's Zoricic for Sydney Olympic. Armenakis. It's Olympics' turn to be patient with Hong. Looking to get Kukuchka back involved, who has been a little bit conspicuous in his quietness since the opening goal just over 10 minutes ago. He's an absolute live wire, of course, Sebastian Kukuchka, and can make things happen in the matter of just a moment, just seconds is all he needs. Seb Duarte. Looks forward, but again, unable to link up with a teammate. It was sort of between Cornish and Fujita. Here is Cornish. Helps it over his shoulder intelligently for Fujita. As his fullback isolated here, Fujita. Zoricic just holding him up well enough. Here's Cornish measuring the cross towards the central area, towards the head of Lockie Scott. Pressure from Ziggy Gordon, certainly enough. Wicked delivery though from Hugo Cornish, full credits to that, really driven in straight on the head of Lockie Scott. Came in very quickly, in fairness. Gordon looking to mount another raid going forward. Callaghan wins the aerial duel initially, but Madden tracking back smartly to get there ahead of Khan Nizam. In possession back for his side. The Wolves now prowling forward. Duarte. Madden. Cornish. Scott. Oh, just on a completely different wavelength there. Hugo Cornish and Lockie Scott, and Lockie Scott perhaps from that sort of range may have been wiser counselled to actually go for goal himself. That is well and truly his sort of range. Just trying to be a little bit too inventive with it, a bit too cute. Wollongong will be desperate to find some sort of response. Of course, they are in real danger of losing touch with the top six if results go against them this evening, particularly if this result stands. Still a lot of football yet to be played. Sydney Olympics certainly good value for their one-goal advantage here, courtesy of that man there, Kukuchka, who wins a throw. Clark will hoist it back in to play. Panos Armenakis. Armenakis and Kukuchka again. He's remained onside. Kukuchka will deliver. Took a good chunk off the leg of Seb Duarte on the way through, and comfortable for the young Wolves custodian. We will have a brief break in play here though, as there's a Wolves player who has remained down on the turf, stricken inside their own 6-yard area. That's Yamamura perhaps. back to his feet now in any case. Banri Kanazumi signalling to the bench, no further attention required. Good opportunity for the players to take some fluids on board and receive some instructional updates from their respective benches. We've said plenty of action elsewhere around the grounds this afternoon. Still 1-0 as Ernie Smith reserve between SD Raiders and Blacktown City. Just underway at Christie Park, Spirit FC and St George FC. 3 minutes gone in that one, still 0-0. Later this evening, of course, St George City playing host to Uni of New South Wales. That one kicking off at 7:15. Also scheduled for a 5:30 kickoff. Apia Lightcast playing host to Sydney FC. I'm sure there will be some Wollongong fans, stakeholders interested in the outcome of that game. Particularly with, of course, Sydney FC currently occupying that 6th and final spot in the race to finals. Just 2 points ahead of Wollongong as things stand. If Apia do get a result against Sydney FC and Wollongong managed to flip the script on this one and turn it around, would see Wollongong entering the top 6 once again. They look to now to return to finals football for the first time since the shortened 2020 season. Last time they made finals in a full home and away season was in 2019, of course, when they finished premiers. Consistently there or thereabouts in the race for the top 6, but it's far too long for a club of this size and stature to not be making the post-season. Now back underway. As it slipped through towards Cornish, who lets it run for a teammate. Erin Hernandez sliding in. To great effect, Josh Hong playing covering defender and ensuring the ball reached the touchline. Wollongong looking to get on the front foot immediately following the restart. Bring you an update on that injury. It was Jake Shackett who's been withdrawn. Remains on the turf just in front of our broadcast position here, looking very dejected indeed. We'll try and get some updates on that as and when we can. Confirmation on that change. It will be Noah Mati, number 14, introduced following that injury to Jake Shackett. Luke Wiltshire's side forced into an early change here. Here's Lockie Scott. Handy pocket of space, able to link up with Fujita. What's cooking here for the Wolves? Fujita overlapping again is Duarte. First time delivery, nearly causing chaos, you know. Straight into the body of Hong, and that's an intelligent looking turn from Armanakis, but just slipped. And his opposite number 10 there, and Flynn Madden able to capitalise on the slip from Armanakis. Classy footballer. Lovely to watch. Of course, brings the experience of a number of years in the States, but also top flight clubs like Panathinaikos. Wonderful experience for Sydney Olympic to be able to introduce in mid-season, returning, of course, to his boyhood club. no shortage of players losing their footing at various points throughout the course of the evening. A bit of a greasy surface here at Belmore. We've had no shortage of rain during the week, of course. As the Wolves then again up and about, looking to help guide that ball goalwards, but it's repelled all too comfortably by Sydney Olympic. Good strength there from Kukuchka. Now Armenakis does well to await support and find it. Armenakis will get the return pass as well. Doesn't have the beating of Fujita. Clark will regather it only momentarily. Has his pocket pinched by Lockie Scott, and now here's Cornish. Clark looks to recover. Still Cornish. Still going. Inside from Yamamura. Good looking reverse pass. That is to find Fujita. Sliding in at the very last available opportunity is Ziggy Gordon. You have to get those absolutely spots on. And he did. A fraction of a second too early or too late. Of course, could have proved disastrous, but that was immaculate. At the expense of a corner, though. First one of the evening. Will be hoisted into the 6-yard box, repelled only as far as Fujita. Armenakis tracking back to great effect. Hong looks to emerge with it and is rather agriculturally bundled over. He stayed down as well. Was heavy contact into the back there with the Olympic defender. Ziggy Gordon and Zach Zoricic and Jock Akiwian all making their feelings known to the referee. The Defenders Union coming together in support of their stricken centre half. Back up and about now. And on the ball here, Hong. Gordon, again just slipping as he looked to send that one forward towards Callaghan. Kanazumi for Wollongong now. Kelly. Just playing around Bailey Callaghan there. Is Duarte. Passing lane's blocked off, so Duarte forced back to Kelly, all the way back to Kanail. Wollongong happy to play keep ball for the time being. Kanail rolls it out to the feet of Seb Duarte. Duarte able to link up with Cornish, and now Lockie Scott has stolen a march on Ziggy Gordon here. Lockie Scott bursting into the area and finishing with aplomb. Parity restored at Belmore. And it's Lockie Scott with goal number 6 for the season. Another who scores in back-to-back weeks. And Lockie Scott with a captain's knock, leading by example. We're all square once more. Again, it was a sustained period of possession from Wollongong in the lead up to the goal. Keep ball throughout their back four before Duarte decided to inject some verticality into play. Flipping one forward to the head of Cornish. Just guided it forward with his head. Lockie Scott intelligently stealing a couple of yards of space from the Olympic skipper there in Ziggy Gordon. Holes forming once more as Lockie Scott this time has got him behind Gordon. Hong does well enough. Ziggy Gordon just caught napping there, caught way out of position. That's an easy free kick for the referee to give there. Lockie Scott tracking back and a tug on the jersey of Pugaria. Kukuchka with strength to win the throw. We'll just leave it here for Zoricic. Nodded forward towards Armenakis. It's too far ahead of Olympics number 10 though. Yamamura helps it inside. Kanazumi. Scott. Smart back heel to link up with Kanazumi. The whistle will go. Could have been for any one of 2 or 3 fouls there. Referee happy to let play continue and just see if any advantage would accrue. Fancy the final contact on Banri Kanazumi was enough. If anything, these two sides absolutely love a share of the spoils, of course. The last 9 encounters between these two sides have seen parity at the final whistle 5 times. Olympic have the better winning ratio between the two sides, of course, having won 3 of the last 9. Wollongong with just the 1 victory in the last 9 outings. Had their share of absolute classics and late drama, absolute thrillers over the years as well. 7 goals scored after the 90th minute in the last 9 meetings between these two sides. 5 of those in favour of the host this evening, 2 for Wolves. Still a long way to go until we reach that point, that juncture just yet. I'm sure a few more twists and turns along the way. Akiuian cheaply giving the ball away there as Akiuian and giving the Wolves with a golden opportunity here for Cornish. It was simple as you like. Hugo Cornish profiting from the mistake at the back from Sydney Olympic. And from being a goal to the goods in just a matter of moments, it's all going so wrong for the hosts. Cornish couldn't have had much of a simpler finish on his hands following the layoff from Kazuya Yamamura. And for the first time this evening, the Wolves hit the front. Just his second start, of course, for Wollongong, a mid-season signing from Western City Rangers, Hugo Cornish, as Akiuian looks to atone for his earlier error. Cross-evading everyone, and at the end of it all, Kukuchka has his legs taken away. Seth Duarte will plead his innocence. Olympic with a chance to try and hit back and respond immediately. Perhaps a little shell-shocked too. Really quick-fire goals from the visitors. Flipping the script. Firing them ahead. Into the final 5 minutes of the first half here at Belmore. Delivered by Armenakis, near post, and emphatically cleared behind goal from Lockie Scott. Dicey really sliced off the outside of the boot there from Lockie Scott, and they can end up anywhere. It's an intervention I fancy he had to make. Armenakis looked to catch the young Globman out at his near post. Corner again, right on top of Kanial, and oh my days. Just prodded behind over the far side. Kanazumi with the final touch there. Another Sydney Olympic corner in quick succession. Last two set pieces have been very good. What's this third one got in store? Ziggy Gordon gets a toe to it and crumples. Trying to perhaps buy a penalty there. Referee having none of it. Wollongong look to trail forward up the other end immediately. Madden wins the free kick after contact in the back there from Josh Hong. I'll tell you what, this is an intriguing sort of position for the visitors. No shortage of suitors to take it. I'm sure Fujita's very interested. He's inserted himself right on the spot. Or has he? He has not. Duarte is one of those standing over this. Now he walks away and leaves it as well. Kanazumi's lurking at the back post. Fujita's very central. Lockie Scott's in the middle. What's the delivery like this time from Yamamura? He's got one assist to his name already. Yamamura to clip it in towards the back stick. Kanazumi just lets it run. It was behind him. He's always a threat from those sorts of areas, is Banri Kanazumi. Not quite on the money that time. Duarte to hoist it back into play, resuming hostilities. Fujita just lost it momentarily and allows Kakucha to step in and stride forward, only as far as halfway. Bugaria overlapping on the left is Akuian. Now looks to measure the cross. Wicked teasing sort of delivery and just about dealt with by Wollongong. Fujita will track it back down for his size. Sent forward with emphasis towards Cornish, the latest goal scorer. He's just out-muscled there by Josh Hong. Seth Clark. Again, can't poke a hole in the Wollongong backline, and Lockie Scott now striding forward, slaloming and linking up with Cornish. Now Fujita's in a handy pocket of space if Cornish can find him, and he can't. He's just left the pass all too far behind. Yuto Fujita. Like a really promising sort of avenue foray forward for the Wolves. Just breaking down. Kanazumi, too physical in the contest there against Kukuchka. He's keen to get things on the move and perhaps too keen. Just trying to force the pass into the wide area for Amanakis. He will receive it though in a roundabout sort of way here, Panos Amanakis. Now looking to weave his way inside is Bailey Callaghan. As Kanazumi for company, able to find a teammate in the form of Akuian. Nizam. Forced back to halfway with Gordon. Then into the half space, giving Amanakis something to chase, but not too far ahead of Olympics number 10. We're through the regulation 45 here at Belmore. Just a couple of minutes to be added on. We'll take the opportunity to try and bring you some updates from elsewhere as well. Further bad news for Sydney Olympic. Blacktown now at 2 goals to the good ahead of Southern District Raiders. A second goal in the 38 minutes following Travis Major's 14th minute penalty sees Blacktown leading there. Spirit FC have just gone ahead against St George FC at Christie Park. Just a single goal in it there. Here at Belmore, of course, as you'll see, Wollongong in the ascendancy. look to try and chart a course back to finals football for the first time since 2020. Madden. Good first touch from Fujita in fairness. Here's Duarte trying to skip his way inside. Does well to recover it as well, said Duarte. Now striding forward, Duarte has Fujita wide and will use him. Is there a third incoming here for Wollongong? Fujita's delivery is curling in. Had a wonderful looking tail on it, but a difficult one to control. A very awkward sort of height, and maybe a chance for Olympic to have the final say of the half. Nizam. Just again out-muscled. Oh, that Wollongong back four. Mel Mati involved. Akuyan can't find a teammate with his header, only finding Lockie Scott. That's probably not who you want to give the ball away to. Fujita. Scott is screaming for it inside. Fujita opts to go himself. Bundled off it by Zoricic. Legally so, and now Zoricic emerging free and clear with it. Kukuchka over halfway. Smart little nutmeg there from Kukuchka. 1 and 2 as well, if you don't mind. Still going here. Kukuchka pulled into the area. Strike. Goal! Khan Nizam! With perhaps the final say of the half here for Sydney Olympic. Once again, restoring parity. That's his third start since his mid-season move from Spirit FC. The former Wanderer with his first goal since the 30th of May and his first goal in Sydney Olympic colours. Don't they just love it here at Belmore? 2 apiece. Lockie Scott gets us back underway, striding past 1 and 2, and then the outside of the football trying to link up with Cornish. Easy for Curto, and that will indeed be that. A peep of the whistle signalling half-time here at Belmore. An absolutely intriguing spectacle, thoroughly entertaining between these two sides who are after no less than 3 points for very different reasons. It was Sebastian Kukuchka who got the scoring underway after just 12 minutes. The visitors were able to hit back, of course, first through Lockie Scott and then Hugo Cornish. But Sebastian Kukuchka turning provider right on the stroke of half-time. The Khan Nizam to square the ledger. It's 2 apiece here at Belmore. We're off for a short break, but don't you dare go away. Back for second half action in about 15 or so minutes' time.
Every week, hundreds of thousands of people turn up around football grounds around New South Wales. Parents, kids, refs, coaches and volunteers. Cardiac incidents can happen to anyone at any time on the pitch.
Right now, not every club has a defibrillator.
And the ones that do are not always maintained or ready to use. In a critical moment, with a defib, that could save lives. That's why Football New South Wales, St John Ambulance and Toyota have come together for Every Beat Matters to help clubs around New South Wales to access defibrillators, cover maintenance and build a register so we know exactly where every unit is around the state. All you need to do is buy a ticket through Raffletix. $5 can make a difference. Every ticket goes towards funding defibrillators and maintenance for clubs that need it most. A live fundraising board shows exactly how much is being raised. And every ticket you buy put you in the draw to win a Toyota Corolla. One ticket, rule impact. Help your club be ready when it matters. So buy your ticket today.
Here's Sutherland. FC, we played SD Raiders. 1-1-0. Great drag, and set it up now, Farah. Delivers it beautifully. He's onside here. Just has to pull the trigger. While Prendergast made the initial save, the rebound for Fowler. Zach Fowler scores. Comes back to the left. This is Harm. Moving around, works it in. Get out of the way. Then another hit. I'll tell you what. This time he's got his goal. He was wanting it, and he's finally got it. As now the ball comes back to Pufflet. Now Woods. Woods shots. That seals the deal. Sean Woods gets the goal. He's second for the season and could well be the match winner. He goes back in situation for Sydney FC. And a shot! Holy Toledo! Right on the stroke of full time, Tay Headley has delivered a great goal.
Base, but not used to receiving possession as Maya gets it back. Franco Maya! That is spectacular! What a goal from Franco Maya! Some strong challenges in the middle of the park now from both teams. Cross into Armson. Jack Armson! Doubles the lead.
Thought about going for it first time. But where's that wide to Katrib? Good ball across. Abdul Rahman! Western Sydney open the scoring on the 10-minute mark. McEwen, and that is a very strong challenge. And the free kick taken even quickly. Armanakis now. Great ball through. Kakucha gets onto it first. Sebastian Kakucha! That's a great shot and good save by Curdo, but not enough, and it falls into the back of the net. And it's Lachlan Sitout.
Delhi caught in possession. Hollingdale spills it. Diego Panilla blocked away. Great defending from Kishimoto. The through ball from Meyer. Delightful! What a finish and what a goal! Yanni Nicolau! Segreto telegraphed the ball and he found a way past Meyer. Rory Jordan breaking into the box. Ortiz! A precise finish. Comes from Mafuka. Given away. Vanilla. Runs laterally. Oh, Vanilla! Goodness gracious! What a goal! So Jordan Segreto has run over from the right side to the left to take this corner kick. Delivery to the near post. Glancing on an end all the way through. Long throw. Turn in the penalty area, blocked, and the follow-up safe, and then at close range it's in! Tasman and Wollongong! Sutherland have found a third!
A goal right in the shadows of half-time. Big goal indeed for David Perkovic's men. Great cross. Griffiths! There's the opener!
Directly into his face, Telmakovsky pauses, waits, looks for Constable in. Constable takes a touch, takes a second touch, bearing down on goal. Constable with the shot! Constable with the goal! In the 21 jersey, Noah Peacock. Looks like Corey Cavan is coming on as well here. Now, chance for goal! Oh, from nothing! From absolutely nothing. The ball has broken free for Sam Armson.
Geisen can clip it forwards.
Awkward one for Beatty to deal with, and rushing through on goal now. Here's an opportunity, and it's placed into the corner. Shaked has work to do back. And now to find Lewis Curry, and it's still there for the midfielder. And finds the corner. It's 2-0 to the visitors. Duarte. Hugo Cornish lines up a strike. Dipping effort off the bar. And Scott heads in. And the Wolves halve the deficit. Dream start to the second half. Well, it was a diving header that looked to be in an awkward position. Hernandez's ball in this time. And it's a fantastic header from Yuto Fujita. Can find Fujita. Skips inside, Fujita still going. And buries a beauty. Yuto Fujita has turned this game around for the Wolves. Mitri, that ball's floated in. Berry still has it there. Tep is there, and it is in the goal. Bundled over the line, and it's 3-3. Not the prettiest of
A very warm welcome indeed back to Belmore. Of course, round 23 of the New South Wales NPL men's competition. Currently locked up at 2 apiece here between Sydney Olympic and Wollongong. The teams are back on the field. We're just waiting for the return of the officials before we can resume hostilities here. Of course, the tale of the tape so far in this one, it was Sebastian Kukushka who opened the scoring after just 12 minutes. Olympic pegged back initially by Lockie Scott, who restored parity in the 35th. Hugo Cornish adding a second and firing Wollongong into the ascendancy in the 38th. But another moment of absolute individual brilliance from Sebastian Kukushka. Beating 3 players, 2 nutmegs on the way through for good measure as well, if you don't mind. And laying it off on a plate for Khan Nizam to restore parity right on the stroke of half-time. We did say, of course, these two sides absolutely love a share of the spoils. 5 draws in the last 9 encounters between these two sides. Plenty of action yet to get through here at Belmore. We'll take the opportunity to take you around the grounds and look at some results or live in play from elsewhere, I should say. At Proma Park, back underway for the second half there. Manly and Sutherland still deadlocked at 0-0. Just after half-time at Ernie Smith Reserve between the SD Raiders and Blacktown City. It is Blacktown leading that one by 2-0. Travis Major opened the scoring from the penalty spot before Caleb Jackson-Brown added a second. As the officials make their way back onto the pitch to the sound of rapturous applause from these Belmore faithful. We are going to see a change at the interval for Sydney Olympic. Daniel Wong is being introduced at half-time. Of course, sporting the number 58 jersey, Daniel Wong. Peep of the whistle signals time on for the second stanza. Olympic resuming hostilities and immediately turning it straight over the byline to give the ball back to Wollongong. So both sides with a change apiece now. Of course, Wollongong saw the unfortunate departure of Jake Shackhead, who succumbed to injury in the first half. Olympic looking to go on the march immediately through Wong. It was laid off by Armanakis intelligently. Wong's strike is blocked off. Bring you news on another change as well for Wollongong at the interval. Dylan King has been introduced into the fray, the number 77. Hugo Cornish, of course, scored the second for Wollongong, seems to be the one withdrawn. It's all Olympic at the moment here, though. Lacist advance repels. Here's Hong. Inside it goes for Nizam! Just pulls it wide. Max Kanail at full stretch there, desperately trying to keep his goal intact in the early stages of the second stanza. Confirmation on that change for Sydney Olympic. It was Ziggy Gordon who's been withdrawn. We'll see a bit of a reshuffle across that back line for the hosts. Looks like Bailey Callaghan will operate on the left of that defence, and he's perhaps given the ball away here. He did indeed give the ball away, and just about gave Lockie Scott the opportunity to put it on a plate for Dylan King. The ball bounced awfully awkwardly in front of Wollongong 77. Nearly another defensive lapse from Sydney Olympic, causing carnage in their own penalty area. We can't afford many or really even any more of those. goes Olympic through Wong. Good save from Kunal. Got a very strong paw to it. Seemingly out of just about nothing, Sydney Olympic are starting to make things happen. I'll tell you what, Daniel Wong has thrown his head back in despair, still making his way back into play now. Just perhaps feeling that he could have and maybe should have, in all fairness, done better with that opportunity. If things keep going the way they are, though, I'm sure there will be plenty more opportunities to come. Nizam hoists it in, stands it up to the back stick. It is Wong, juggling. Kunail lost it momentarily. Able to scramble back and really smother the chance right off the toe of Daniel Wong. Smart layoff there from Scott, looking for the return pass. Felt he was impeded by Akuian. Now the flag is up. The referee just awaiting to see how this play unfolds. Asking the question of his linesperson, and the whistle does somewhat belatedly go. The linesperson on this near touchline seemingly indicating there was a foul in the build-up there, agreeing with Lockie Scott's interpretation that he was impeded by Jock Akuian, and there will be a meeting of the minds between the officials here to try and dissect this decision. The end result will be a Wollongong free kick. Or will it? Close consultation here between Josh Hong and the man in the middle. It does seem we have come back for that Wollongong free kick. It looks like the little tug on the jersey of Lockie Scott there from Akuian. Was the infraction that was committed, and here's Wollongong, and a very good opportunity to launch another raid forward here. Driven into the area on the spin is Scott. Locked off though. Noah Mati to work the levers to hoist it back into play. Nodded down towards Scott. Little layoff towards Fujita. Hooked clear. Fancy it may come straight back at them. Mati. Hernandez is impeded. Whistle does come. Bailey Callaghan this time the aggressor. The Belmore faithful don't like it. Seb Hernandez has just left it for Flynn Madden to send this one forward. Just about everyone back behind the ball for Sydney Olympic as well, as Madden hoisted into the area. Got it straight back out. Seb Hernandez to hoist it into the area. Not a clear. Wong held it up for a teammate. Was looking for the return pass as well there, Daniel Wong, but it won't find him. Comfortable enough for Dax Kelly to roll it back to his gloveman's feet. It's Mati. Madden's ball forwards, the latest one to be blocked off. The game somewhat settling now after a chaotic opening. Couple of minutes to the second stanza. Here's Fujita. King's made an underlapping run there and will receive it. It's Josh Hong paying him very close attention indeed. Hong defends it well enough, but at the expense of a throw-in. Fujita was waiting to receive the ball inside. It didn't arrive from Duarte. Only momentarily. Olympic happy to slow the game down a little bit here before hoisted back towards the head of Wong. Sent back from whence it came. Lockie Scott chesting it down. Get the return pass as well, Lockie Scott. Has support in the form of Duarte. Good strength from Seb Duarte to bustle through 1, 2 and 3. Great feet as well. Scott with the layoff. Duarte now holds it up, chops back. Forcefully defended there initially by Zoricic, and then Bugaria completing their clearance. Kukuchka just letting it run. Looked like it was opening up nicely for a moment there, thanks to the industry and willful running there, particularly from Seb Duarte. Zach Zoricic, though, defending resolutely and stoutly. Again, showing great feet to link up with a teammate inside in the form of Clark. He wants the ball into the channel here, Armenakis, and it does arrive, but it's all too far ahead of Olympics number 10. As we said, he's been so lively, involved in the action. I'd love to see his heat map after this game, Panos Armenakis. For Sydney Olympic, the headlines so far really all about Sebastian Kukuchka. 2 moments of absolute individual brilliance. Scoring the first and then turning provider for the second. Leaving Sydney Olympic with more than a semblance of hope. Here he is again here, Kukuchka. Bugaria returns serve to Kukuchka. Bugaria now. Sizes up the strike. Straight into the gloves of Max Kanail. Mati sends it forward. Clark has his legs taken away by Lockie Scott, who half-heartedly protests his innocence. Nearly a check giveaway there from Hong. Bugaria is alert to it. Can't retain it though at the moment, Sydney Olympic. This Madden sprays one wide for Seb Hernandez, who might just look to inverse and drive at the fullback here. Shifts back onto his right instead and clipped in towards the head of Scott, who was arriving late. With a real sort of barnstorming run, but it's not too far over the head of Lockie Scott. Zoricic will regather for Olympic. Clark. Armenakis again deep this time. Great feet again. Joy to watch, Panos Armenakis. In his arm. The Sydney Olympic faithful want Panos Armenakis to take on all comers there. He does this time, goes around his opposite number 10 and looks to spin around the second challenge as well. A little clipped forward. Clipped ball forward, I should say. Drawing the offside flag. Kukuchka again. That's a game that's really seesawed and swung from one end to the other. End-to-end stuff, momentum shifting rapidly, one way and the next. Just over half an hour plus any time added on to go. You said no shortage of late drama between these two sides over the years. 7 goals scored after the 90th minutes. The last 9 meetings as Bugaria looks to add one earlier than that. Bugaria will pull the trigger. Ooh, tell you what, far away. Max Kanail was perhaps very confident there. that he had his angles correct, but the Sydney Olympic faithful like what they're seeing. They've had the better of the opportunities so far in the second stanza. Have the hosts. Daniel Wong perhaps going the closest. That one-on-one chance again denied by the strong paw of Max Kanail. Yamamura just operating with the wall pass there. Scott's Kirian goes through the back, but legally so. Does well enough as well to win the throw-in for his side. Swirling in the air for an age. Or Yamamura brings it down. Scott tried to help it on into the path of Fernandez. Seth Clark emerging with it though. Now here's Wong stretching to keep it in play and does well. Measuring the delivery as well. Wong is repelled initially as far as Matsi, who nods it down. Again, it's a big up and under. Seth Clark perhaps not the most likely to win the aerial duel there, but does. Absolute screams for a free kick there from the Olympic faithful after Callahan hit the deck. On we go. Aminakis. Just about covering every blade of grass today, Panos Aminakis. Olympic unable to force a way through though this time. Hernandez is trying to steal a march on Callahan here, and he might just have done that. Well, the flag is up. Handball, it seems, from Bailey Callahan there. Seb Hernandez was pretty keen to get on with it, but referee signalling, wait for my whistle please lads. Flynn Madden will look to take over set piece duty here. Seb Duarte also came over to offer his set piece services. Flynn Madden happy to take. He's a good technician, of course, Flynn Madden. What's the delivery like on this occasion? It's teasing, it's tantalising, it's wickedly curling away. It's nodded clear initially as far as Lockie Scott. Good feet initially to take him away from Bugaria, but his little back heel through the channel is blocked off. So Fernandez will pick it back up. Don't quite retain it. Here's Duarte. Madden. Red jersey's flooding forward here. Aminakis wins it back for Olympic. Smartly stolen in there by Kelly. Yamamura trying to bustle his way through, but holds it, and Wong looks to release Kukuchka now. It's to bear down on goal, takes it to the byline. Kukuchka, sliding challenge. Taking a good chunk off the cross on the way through. Will be picked back up by Olympic here. Aminakis. Wants the return pass into the channel, won't arrive. Clark does eventually link up with Aminakis, but has his pocket pinched by King. Madden. This game's showing no signs of slowing down as Duarte sends it forward to Scott. Fujita. Has Yamamura to aim for in the middle. Does look to go for goal himself instead, Fujita. Really not testing Philip Curto in goal. Fujita perhaps trying to write the headlines himself tonight against his former employer, of course. They're up and about again, the Olympic faithful. To give their side a much-needed boost here. They've certainly had the better of the opportunities so far in this second stanza. A very good value for at least a point today. Well into the final half an hour or so here at Belmore. Where to from here? Bugaria. Driving inside. Left a little bit behind Aminakis, but intelligence. Wonderful technique from Aminakis. And how's the ball to find Wong here as well? It's Wong! Wonderful save from Kunail to deny Daniel Wong for a second time as he bore down on goal. The young Gloveman leaving a big boot out there. What about the ball, though, from Panos Armenakis to make the chance? The initial turn to create a couple of yards of space for himself. The ball centrally. For Daniel Wong, a free kick came as sweet relief to the Wolves in the end. That's two very, very good chances now for Daniel Wong and Sydney Olympic in this second stanza. They could well, perhaps, I think it's fair to say, should have retaken the lead from at least one of them. Here they come again, Sydney Olympic. Armenakis now. A support wide in the form of Nizam. Instead it goes centrally for Daniel Wong. Is this the moment? What a save again from Kunail. He's got some more work to do as it rattles the woodwork. Nodded forward. Wong! That is the moment. Daniel Wong strikes at the heart of Wollongong Wolves. And Sydney Olympic just hear what it means. Daniel Wong's first goal since all the way back in round one against Blacktown City. Look at what it means to him. Listen to what it means to this Sydney Olympic faithful. Well, he's been absolutely hammering on the door since his introduction at the interval. That goal just deserts, just reward for his endeavour, for his efforts. Stolen in behind that Wollongong backline on no shortage of occasions. And once again, they believe here at Belmore. Scott weaving his way inside, or outside I should say. Fujita now takes it to the byline, pulled into the area as well. Could have been chaotic as Seb Hernandez with a high boot there. The whistle goes immediately. I think everyone except Seb Hernandez knew what was coming there. Wollongong are going to go to their bench in search of a response. I can tell you there's a double change incoming. Not for the first time this evening, they find themselves behind. Liam Ball's going to be one of those introduced in just a moment, receiving some final instructions from the Wolves technical area. As Lockie Scott is the latest to give it the big up and under towards Fujita. Duarte left a little short of Fujita, and Armenakis again looking to slide one in behind. Zoricic has made a very tantalising sort of run into that channel. Didn't reach him though. Akirian happy to let it roll back to the feet of Philip Curto, who will invite the pressure forward from King. Before stooping to plug it off the deck here. Alex Masciovecchio is another going to be introduced in just a moment for the visitors searching for a response. But Wollongong certainly look like a wounded side at the moment, these Wolves. Or do they? Here's Hernandez. Clipped in towards the back post. Rising! And nodding just across the face there was Fujita. Well, it hung in the air for an age. Things seemed to go in slow motion. Time almost stopped as Fujita rose at the back post and nodded straight across the face of goal. Sydney Olympic faithful were very confident they had all their angles correct. Flynn Madden is one of those to be withdrawn at the interval, or not the interval, I should say, at this juncture in play. The other change, Seb Hernandez withdrawn. Matty is well enough to win the throw for his side. Yamamura just running straight into traffic, somewhat inexplicably there, Yamamura. Amanakis weaving his way through traffic. A little shimmy to create a couple of yards of space for himself. Now, Bugaria can't bustle his way through. Kanazumi too strong. Here's King. Fujita. Support from Duarte, who has his legs taken away. Will happily watch that harmlessly out over the touchline. Three points for Sydney Olympic today would be a monumental step forward in their bid for survival in the state's top flight. Never relegated in the modern era, of course, of the state's top flight. Did have one back in the 70s, but they were able to bounce straight back. Machio Vecchio. Lockie Scott. Ball now. Fujita. Again, red shirts flooding forward for the Wolves. Across the face it goes. Lockie Scott trying to just prod it home from point-blank range. Perhaps just brushing off the toe there as well of Lockie Scott. Philip Curto is going to take his time to get back to his feet here. Perhaps a touch of cramp for the goalkeeper. We just had a look at the replay of that latest venture forward from the Wolves. I'll tell you what, there was absolute millimetres in it. Is Wong trying to juggle. Latest goal scorer unable to retain it. Ball fizzing one at the feet of Lockie Scott. How's your touch, he says. Lockie Scott says, not bad, thanks. Fujita looking to deliver. Apologies, that's Duarte, of course. It was straight into the body of Zach Zoricic, who then concedes the free kick. We will take the opportunity to take you around some current in-progress scores from elsewhere. At Cromer Park, Sutherland lead by a goal to nil. Blacktown have just made it 3-1, literally as we talk, against Southern District Raiders. That one in the 77th minute. St George FC currently locked up at one apiece with Spirit FC. Apia leads Sydney FC by a goal to nil. Just after half time there. Wollongong still in search of a response. Clipped in towards the head of Duarte. Spilt initially by Curto. It's absolute pinball chaos in that 6-yard box, and after a scramble and a real scare, Sydney Olympic able to dig it clear. It's heart-in-mouth stuff at times. Olympic survive once more. Kelly on to Kanazumi. Fujita will chase this one down. One-on-one with Zoricic, who's defended well today. won the free kick for his side as well, Zach Zoricic. Hoisted forward towards the head of Wong. It was just over the head of Sydney Olympic's latest goal scorer, but it might break kindly here for Sydney Olympic. It's a real tussle and a very good save again from Kunile. Now Amanakis on the edge of the area, juggling. Callahan. Again, it's nearly something out of nothing, that from Sydney Olympic. Route 1 sort of stuff sent straight forward from a free kick. Kuchka looks to add a second to his tally for the evening. Profitable evening indeed for Sebastian Kukuchka. Goal and a very, very good assist as well. Here's Duarte. First time ball forward is found lacking this time. The Wolf Den trying to get behind their side, trying to provide some much needed encouragement. They still believe. But as things stand, inside the final 15 or so minutes here at Belmore, they could be seeing their finals hopes slowly slip further and further away. Curto launches one back to halfway. His ball, can't retain it against Amanakis though. Been a real standout this evening, Panos Amanakis, particularly in the second half. A wonderful assist, or just about. He's created no shortage of goal scoring opportunities, and he looks to create another one here. Numbers arriving in the middle, one of whom was Kukuchka. It's cleared just about by Duarte. Will hit the corner flag and run out of play just for a throw-in. Zoricic forward to hoist it back into play. Here's Bugaria on the edge of the area. Does he have his legs taken away from him? Yes, he does. Free kick in an absolutely intriguing sort of position. And I can bring you an update from Christy Park as well. This is a very good piece of news for Sydney Olympic. And Spirit FC have just gone ahead against St George, which would mean that as things stand, Sydney Olympic are just 1 point behind St George and possible safety. And if they can add a fourth here, not by any means saying it would be a foregone conclusion, but they would be looking very good indeed. Driven in straight into the wall. Wollongong clear their lines. Akurian will look to send it straight back. Well, straight into touch and right on top of the Wolf Den as well. The Wolves keen to get things on the move. Mati it is looking for some more movement from his teammates perhaps. Does eventually hoist it straight to the head of Seth Clark. Here's Wong, the latest goal scorer. Amanakis again with a wonderful looking turn, but he can't retain possession. Scott with a little flick through the legs. It's Duarte now coming forwards. Looks for the return pass. Nothing doing, says the referee after the contact on Seb Duarte. Kunile with a bit of a tricky one to try and control, but he does very well indeed. Performed admirably. This evening has Max Kunile, of course, thrust into the frame on such short notice. The barber from down in Wollongong. Mashio Vecchio, ball to recent introductions, both slipping. As the surface perhaps becoming a increasingly greasy here in Belvoir. Middle flick to find King. Great feet as well from King to evade the attention of Clark. Strength as well, but can't stick the pass, can't stick the landing. Hong able to steal in. Taking control of the situation there, Josh Hong, the centre half, hoisted back in towards the feet of Kukuchka. What's brewing here for Olympic? Not much with a delivery like that, sadly, for Sebastian Kukuchka. Can Wolves offer a response? Lockie Scott dancing around, trying to evade the attention of Clark, and does so. Wonderful shimmy that is as well now, and now Duarte might have an opportunity, instead plays it to the feet of Mati, who will hoist it in. Fujita will try and run this one down. Does indeed. Shifts onto his right and delivers Fujita. That's not the delivery that's required, though, from the former Sydney Olympic man. The Sydney Olympic fans perhaps just letting Yuto Fujita know what they think. Olympic look to go to their bench themselves now. Peter Grozos being introduced. Very warm reception here for Sebastian Kukuchka, who has been an absolute standout this evening. Two pieces of absolute brilliance in the first stanza. A goal and an assist to his name. See Sydney Olympic sitting in very good stead indeed. Looking back heel that was from Amanakis to find Clark. And now Nizam. He's got one already this evening. Can he find a second? Just delayed and allows the challenge to come in there. Kiwian, the latest aggressor, conceding the free kick. It's King. Sliding challenge to take it away from King. And now Amanakis. Space is opening up here, perhaps. Rozos able to track it down and keep it in play and link up with Zoricic. The final 10 or so minutes here at Belmore. Do we have another instalment of late drama perhaps between these two sides who do so love late drama? Lockie Scott, Machio Vecchio! Wonderful save at the first from Philip Curto, and then hooked clear just about off the line. In it comes again towards the head of Scott, nodded clear by Hong. A wonderful save from Philip Curto, who spread himself ever so well. And straight up the other end, go Olympic, it's Nizam. Has he had his heels clipped? No, says the referee. Well, this game in absolutely no danger of slowing down. Mati, Machio Vecchio. Stolen off him by Clark. Bulgaria. And Armenakis just getting in each other's way, but it works out in a roundabout sort of way here for Grozos. Armenakis. Bulgaria on the turn. Forced to go back. Has Armenakis supporting. Seth Clark now sizes up the strike, shifts back onto his right. Oh, that's wonderful into play. Matched by an even better sliding challenge at the last available moment there from Yamamura. Had to get that one absolutely spot on and did. Seen them go wrong in the past, but it's Yamamura timing that to absolute perfection. Again, it's wonderful build up there. The back heel from Bugaria was tasty. Olympic perhaps playing with a bit more freedom, inspired by a bit of confidence. Here's Grozos. Laid off and then delivered centrally in his arm. Bugaria! Saved initially by Kunail and came in ever so quickly. That's another very good stop from the young gloveman. Struck with such venom and purity there from Adam Bugaria. Real snapshot. Sydney Olympic, again, not far away from adding a real exclamation point on proceedings here. Up the other end though, come the Wolves, ball. Twisting and turning and not able to get past Josh Hong. Here's King. Forced back and back and back. It's Kanazumi on halfway. Yamamura. Just send it forwards. It was in the direction of Fujita. It's a long way ahead of him though, and Yamamura, it's not his best sort of delivery. He does have an assist already this evening, of course. I say already as we're through 85 minutes, but it feels like we've only just kicked off, really. Game really played at an absolute rate of knots. Both sides playing with a real good amount of verticality, thrust, lots of go forwards. It's been a thoroughly enjoyable spectacle between these two sides. We're not done yet. Let's see, hoist it back in. Breaks for Armin Arcus. Again, just finds himself in a pocket of space and is able to spread it wide to Grozos. Numbers arriving in the middle here. Grozos goes himself, stinging the palms there of Max Kunail. It's a loose touch from King. Straight to the feet of Bugaria. Clark. We're back here as well, Seth Clark, the Kiwi international. The Kiwi under-23s representative, I should say. The Olympic fans like what they're seeing here. It's Grozos. Callahan. Being harassed and harried by Noah Mati. On we go. Back heel there from Lockie Scott, who's found wanting, just trying to force it. He wins it back though, Lockie Scott, in all fairness. Nice little nutmeg as well on Grozos to find King. Kanazumi now getting forwards. Fujita in on the action, shifting onto his right and will strike. Never really looked like troubling Philip Curto, the strike there from Fujita. Just tried to force it a little bit. Really, as time ticks on, more and more desperation creeps into play. For Wollongong, time is very much against them. For Sydney Olympic, they will be desperate to hold on to what they've got, taking a massive step towards potential safety. We might try and take the opportunity to bring you some updates from elsewhere as well. Intriguingly, at Cromer Park, Manly have turned it around. They're 2-1 up against Sutherland. Darcy Burgess and Ayumu Kimura both scoring after the 80th minute. They're well into added time there. Cancelling out Nicholas Olsen, the former Wolf himself, of course. The opener he scored from the spot against Manly. Here's Armenakis for Sydney Olympic. They turned it over in midfield before Clark regathers and puts a real exclamation point on their clearance as well. For Sydney Olympic, anywhere will do. The referee might have in fact blown the foul, as Clark did leave a little bit on his opponent there. We'll see what the end result is. Some concerns for the welfare of the Wollongong player down on the turf. We're not far away from seeing the board go up, as it looks like the Wolves are going to go to their bench for a final time this evening, perhaps. Lucas Trajewski being stripped and readied for action as they search for something, anything. To try and steal something late here. As they try and plot a return to finals football. Dylan King is back up and about, the 77 of course for Wollongong. He does have to leave the field, having received treatment. It won't be a free kick, it will just be a drop ball restart from the looks of it. Trajewski's just popped his jacket back on, so perhaps Dylan King may just be alright to continue after all. Sprayed out towards Noah Matee. Kelly. Going across the back line now. Yamamura to Kanazumi. We're going to have 3 minutes of time added on here. 3 minutes for Wollongong to perhaps salvage something. 3 minutes for Sydney Olympic to hold on. Wollongong can't wait to get things back underway. Time is of the essence. Time is absolutely well and truly against them. We've seen so many goals scored after 90 minutes between these two sides over the years. 7 in the last 9 meetings. Will we see another, and more to the point, in which side's favour? We had a 4-3 win here for Sydney Olympic back in round 8 of 2024. That one saw 3 goals, or 2 goals I should say, scored after the 90 minutes. At 94th minute, Roy O'Donovan winner. Here's Armenakis, who's been everywhere this evening, striding forward again here, Panos Armenakis. Wonderful feat as well to take him away from 1 and 2. Delivers in towards Wong, not for the first time this evening. Is it Wong? Just slips. His arm will help it on. Grozos. His arm will get it back and strike. Again, stinging the palms of Max Kanail. Who sends it up in the air, swirling as it comes back down and bouncing. Akurian can't reach it ahead of Scott. And the whistle goes for the challenge from Jock Akurian as we tick towards the final minutes. And concerns for the well-being here of Lockie Scott. It did look like very heavy contact between he and Jock Akurian indeed. Yeah, it's a head knock, and it's not a very good looking one either. Absolutely full precautions have to be taken. Absolute best wishes for Lockie Scott. That certainly would have hurt. Well welfare of Jock and Kurian also just being checked on here. There's an almighty collision between the two of them. Every precaution absolutely right to be taken in these situations. Well, we should see all of this time, of course, added on. As we are through the 3 minutes that were originally indicated of added time. Just looking at results and games underway elsewhere. As we said, Manly stole it so late at their death at home. 81st minute goal to Darcy Burgess, squaring the ledger before Ayumu Kimura put them ahead. 3 points secured at Cromer against Sutherland. Blacktown City continue their march towards safety as well. Of course, they've been battling it, in their eyes, the wrong end of the table for so long. Got a point last week against Sydney United and 3 goals and 3 points this evening against Southern District Raiders. Lockie Scott is back up and about, which is a very good sign, very good news indeed for Wollongong Wolves and personally for Lockie Scott as well. That's a good sign from the home fans, even giving him a round of applause as he makes his way down the tunnel to receive some further treatment. So Lucas Trajewski will enter the fray for the final, well, perhaps a minute or so here at Belmore. Kurian, meanwhile, is off. So Sydney Olympic are down to 10 players for the time being, as Kurians had to be bandaged up. Everyone back behind the ball defending this one, as they will go directly for goal from Yamamura. And that is absolutely not what was required. It's a long, long way out. No, he certainly fancies his capabilities, as do a lot of others. But perhaps a bridge too far for even someone of the talents of Yamamura. Sydney Olympic may look to go to their bench themselves now as well. Marcus Fernandez stripped and readied for action. And he is now being invited into the field of play, the field of battle. What I'm sure is just a matter of seconds, perhaps. Rapturous applause for Panos Armenakis. Apologies, that was not Armenakis, that was Khan Nizam, of course, withdrawn, who scored the equaliser right at the end of the first stanza. Certainly played his part and then some today. Here's King. Zoricic able to intercept. Kanazumi will send it forward. It's too wide for Fujita. Well, I fancy the roof is just about to come off here at Belmore as soon as that full-time whistle sounds. There's the occasional sort of nervous hush that also falls over the crowd at the same time. There will be such a roar of relief, a roar of belief, I'm sure. As Hong nods it forward. Here's Wong. Armenakis now. Spinning again. And that will be that here at Belmore. The sound of relief, the sound of belief, absolutely echoing throughout the grandstands here at Belmore. As Sydney Olympic take a monumental step forward towards potential safety in the state's top flight. They open the scoring, of course, through Sebastian Kukuchka in just the 12th minute. They were pegged back by Lockie Scott and Hugo Cornish in the 35th and 38th minutes, respectively, for Wollongong. And another piece of absolute brilliance from Kukuchka, laying it on a plate for Khan Nizam, right on the stroke of half-time. The introduction at the interval of Daniel Wong proving profitable as well for the host this evening, as he secured the third and secured 3 points for the hosts here at Sydney Olympic. A thoroughly entertaining contest between these two sides, but for Wollongong it will be back to the drawing board if they are to find a way back into finals football for the first time in some years. Well, that's all from us here in Belmore this evening. Absolute pleasure having your company, as it always is. From myself, Pete Pryor, I'll see you all next time. From me, it's bye for now.